Wouldn't it be cool if you had Superman-like hearing, and anytime anybody ever mentioned the name of your company at a party, at another store, on an airplane, you could hear it being whispered in your ear? Well, actually, you can do exactly that on Twitter. It's called a mention, and written with the @ symbol in front of it, @mentions. Whenever somebody mentions, includes your Twitter address in a tweet, it will appear here, even if they don't follow you, even if you don't follow them. And it's a really good strategy to periodically check your mentions and reply to those people who are talking about you if the situation warrants. And why not? If they mentioned your name, it's really cool for you to actually jump in there. So you can see your mentions on the Twitter webpage. Make sure that you're in the home section. If you're on profile, you won't see it appear here. So on home, next to timeline, click @mentions. Aha! We got a bunch of people who've been talking about us. So Seneca Training said that her favorite gourmet food sources were, and she listed 3 Twitter addresses, including Bliss number 5. This person named Zoe is asking me a question. Now, Zoe's not following me, sort of like texting me, but the only way that I'm going to see that would be if I look at mentions. Take a look at this. Releveler is asking his followers, does anybody know my phone number? Interesting. If I look at the timeline, I did notice that I saw Tom's post here. Does anyone know the Bliss number 5 phone number? But that's only because I happen to be logged in right now. If I was actually, with the client or making chocolate or something like that, I wouldn't see this post. And probably by the time I got here, it would have scrolled off the Twitter screen or, been way far low, because remember, it's in reverse chronological order. So I'm not going to see it unless I happen to search for it. You can search for your Twitter name if you'd like, but there's no need to if you're on the Twitter page. Just click @mentions. If you're using a Twitter utility, all of these third-party applications also have a way for you to look at mentions. This is the term that people use, is mentions. So what should you do when people mention? Well, respond. This person is saying that I'm one of her favorite gourmet food sources. So I'm going to reply to Seneca Training. I don't need to reply to everybody in there, so I'm going to delete them. And I'm going to say, thank you so much. I could just do that, and what would happen is then Seneca Training, as long as they're looking at their mentions, will see that I'm replying with thank you so much. Who else will see this tweet? Normally, the only people who will see this tweet in their Twitter feed will be people who are following both Seneca Training and Bliss number 5. If I want everybody who's following Bliss number 5 to see this tweet, I need to add at least one character before the @ symbol. So you might see this kind of convention happening where people will precede a tweet with a period. And this is because they are replying to one person, but they want all of their followers to know what they're saying in this reply. If I don't include that, if the @ symbol is there, I said before that the only people who will see this in their timeline are people who are following both the person I'm replying to and myself. But if anybody happens to go to my Twitter page and they look at my profile, you remember, you always see every single tweet. So they will see all of my replies as well, even if they're not following that person. But let me close this without replying, because actually, if somebody said this to me, what I would do would be to retweet what they said. Now, there is a retweet button, and in the video on retweeting, I'll talk about this in more detail. But right now, I'm going to use what's called the old style retweeting, which is to precede the tweet with the initials RT, and then just copy and paste what they wrote. So I'm going to select what they wrote, copy to the clipboard, choose reply so that it automatically enters their name for me. I don't need to retype it. I'll precede it with RT space and then paste what they wrote. What's nice about this old school retweeting is that I can add comments to it. Using the button, you can't really edit what you're retweeting. So I'll say, thank you, and tweet that. So Seneca Training will see it in their mentions, but also anybody who happens to be following me will see it in their timeline. Here, Zoe's asking me a question, and I can just click reply and say, we certainly do have bittersweet chocolate. And then I might go to my webpage and find a link to our bittersweet chocolate product line, or maybe a post that I wrote, and I would type in that URL. I'll just say acme.com here for the sake of putting a URL in here. But what's more important is Remember, whenever you're replying to somebody, do you want them to see this, or do you also want everybody who's following you to see this? So if I wanted everybody to know, yes, we have bittersweet chocolate, you click in front of the @ symbol and you put some kind of character. You can just put a period if you want, or you can type something. Hey, @Zoe Garcia, we certainly do have bittersweet chocolate. This too would be seen by all of our followers. So pay attention when you're replying to somebody if you think it's important or laudatory enough that you'd like to let everybody else know who's following you that somebody is asking you that question. So keep an eye on your mentions because it gives you that Superman-like hearing only in the entire Twitterverse. It's really fun.